Welcome, everybody, to another installment of the Building Savages podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on all of our socials. Follow us on all the streaming platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and we are also on YouTube.
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
is where
yeah,
the tagline would be in if we
yeah,
discovered that, but
yeah.
next
I feel-
week.
Yeah, we're trying to come up with a tagline because all great podcasts have a tagline. And like the first idea I had was welcome to the Building Savages podcast where we talk about fitness and shit. And that's about
And
as far as I got. And I was like, nobody would listen to that shit.
I was like, that podcast I'm turning off instantly.
So listen, that ain't our tagline, but as of right now, this the first one we got. But we're getting
Yeah,
there.
man. No, it's fun. This is our first podcast in a while without some guests. Going back to the original crew, went
Yeah,
a
there
little
we
guest
go.
heavy over the past couple weeks.
Yeah,
I was
we got
bringing
really
all
we
my
got really
friends
good.
on.
Yeah, we just bring all our friends on and fucking talk about fitness and shit. There you go. See, the tagline should be working fine.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, sure.
let's
You try to sneak that back in there.
try to
It's
stick
not gonna
it.
work, bro.
It's not at all. But I also don't like being wrong, so I'm gonna keep trying. Uh, but yeah, it's fun. Like we really didn't want to bring so many people on it, but like I think we're starting to enjoy just talking and then like just bringing people on and having them also educate like the people that are listening to us.
It definitely changes the conversation dynamic and
That's it.
gives different perspectives, or even just adds to some of the perspectives that we have to just kind of further some of these conversations. I've really enjoyed our last three guests. They were all very different,
Yes, very, very different.
extremely different. And I mean, let's chalk it up to us, right? It's even starting to show the range of the conversation that we can start having and going
Yes,
into. And
yes,
each podcast is actually becoming more and more comfortable to just have different conversations, converse with different people, and even just between you and I, like like having a. It's funny, like um, some of the people coming on the podcast that aren't so used to speaking as much, right? And this is like their first time really getting on there and speaking or like being heard in this way, and it's like shit is a lot harder than people think it is. Like, so
All
I'm
right.
like,
Oh my
you and
God.
I giving ourselves a little pat on the back, like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's not that easy just walking in here and engaging someone to listen to you and not really having pauses in the conversation and flowing and shit. Like, it's
Yeah.
different when you're just shooting the shit with your friend, but
Yeah.
like you're trying to engage people the whole time to stay here and want to listen to you. Like that shit takes a skill,
Oh my
and
God.
this is one that we're adapting every week.
Yeah, we're getting better, and having the guests like keeps us on our toes too, because like we have to make sure that they're engaging with us, we're engaging with them, and like we're having good conversations. So like I mean, if anybody knows like Terrence is the questionable knowledgeable one, I'm just gonna make jokes and shit like that.
It's
Like a
working out
balance.
fine.
It's turning out fine. It's a good fucking conversation, no matter what. And I hope you guys enjoyed the guest ones. We just dropped Chinos today, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. We got to talk a lot of shit with Chino.
Yeah, Chinos fun.
Yeah, actually, all of our guests. So far we have five guests,
Yeah,
and by the time this video comes out, all of those videos will be out. And
yeah,
each conversation, each guest was a completely different topic,
100%.
completely different topic, and it really allowed us to explore some range. So we talked about should coaches be coaches. We talked about boxing. Got
Yeah.
into him, and speaking of that, he actually fights this weekend, so I'm gonna
Oh,
go
no
see
shit.
him. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go see him fighting the Diamond Gloves, so that's
Okay,
gonna be
dope.
dope. It's a mini
Uh,
tournament this weekend.
yeah, tell him I said good luck, man. He was an
Sure,
awesome
bro.
kid, bro. I'm
It
excited.
was funny with him too. I'm gonna plug my boy a little bit. So I came in the gym and well, I was in the gym already. He came in and like on the way out, I'm looking at his shirt. I'm like, "That's your brand on there?" Because like on the low he created his own
No shit.
brand for his shit. He calls himself Hercules,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which I think is the coolest name in the world. His boxing name is Hercules Simpson, which literally sounds like a boxer's name.
No, 100%.
Like
Yeah.
he has this fucking logo that he kind of like created and like his brand name on there. I'm like, you wasn't even gonna fucking say anything. You're just like chilling
Just
in the
walk in.
quiet
You're
by
like, oh, people
yourself.
notice and shit like that. Just walking off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I love this dude, man. Fucking Hercules Simpson. Oh shit. But yeah, man, shout out to my boy Jordan. He's fighting this weekend. So
There you
best
go.
of luck to the whole Strap City team. Shout out to Weapons 9. We got a couple guys fighting next Saturday in Queens at the Warriors Cup. So moving and shaking, man. Moving and
Yeah.
shaking. And it's such a blessing to be able to work with these great athletes and having some fun with them.
Yeah, that's fucking dope, man. I wish I was back into that, but doing Gen Pop is like fun for me right now. Try to
I
get back
love
into
it. And I have a mixer too. It's literally like
it.
I
Yeah,
still have more gen pop than I do with the athletes. So
for
it's
sure.
it's letting me tap into both worlds actually. So which has been cool.
Good. Yeah.
And they all exist under the same roof. And then like for online coaching, that's something that I adapted over like the last 2 years.
Mm.
And it was such a I guess it was such like a learning process because that's a whole different person that you're tapping into with the
100%.
online coaching. So even just learning like the different demos that you have within the umbrella of your own identity, it's actually kind of cool. Like I really enjoy it today now.
For sure. No, bro. I love online training, bro. It's a whole different. People are different on there. Learning how to communicate with them clearly is different, and then I mean, checking in on them. I mean, it's easier for a personal trainer perspective to be 100% honest, because a lot of times you don't have to be there all the time, but you almost have to be there all the time, just making sure that
Yeah.
they're on top of their shit.
Yeah, finding better ways to give them value from that. But the one thing that I find about the online clients are, which I love, is they're practicing the most self sufficiency, and that's the thing that we all want.
Yes.
So and that's really what I feel, and it maybe just so for the way that I structure my business, and I can probably speak the same for Evan, is like we really work on building self-sufficient
Mm.
athletes, which is something that Coach Steve brought up when he was
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And that's we asked him. He was like, "Well, how does that really work?" And he was like, "Well, at this stage, what they do is like for them to be in this class, they need to have some sort of level of self sufficiency for us to do some sort of work. Because if not, it's like we're gonna be walking baby steps on things that really we shouldn't be walking baby steps on."
Just double the fucking work for no reason. This is like this is basic shit. Shit needs to go over it 1,000 times. Yeah, I mean, this is the only way to get better. Yep.
And that's the beauty of what this podcast does, right? So now we're giving people another resource, and we're giving them more education so they can be more self sufficient in their own journeys. And speaking of self sufficiency, today we're going to speak about bulking, which
Mm-hmm.
is another thing that's going to lead into how can you start to take initiative in building muscle for yourself and even learning the importance of bulking, right? Because when people hear bulking, I think like the initial response is like, oh, I'm gonna get fat. And like that's not what bulking is. Can it
No.
be bulking? Sure. I mean, you can
Oh yeah.
definitely bulk in the wrong way.
Yeah.
But literally, if we're just thinking of what bulking is, it's like you're creating a bigger muscle foundation or a larger muscle foundation, right?
Yeah.
That like we're trying to build more muscle. This is a stage and a phase that we're going through that we're going to literally focus our goals on just increasing more mass. Now,
Yep.
this is a topic that Evan wanted to bring up, and I thought that was actually a really good topic to bring up because a lot of times we're thinking of bulking as just something necessary for bodybuilders or powerlifters or um actually typically athletes in those two worlds where bulking can literally exist for anybody. And Ashley touched on this a little bit in our last episode with that, especially for women. So I'm gonna let Evan, just kind of lead the conversation on this, and just like we're gonna really just start touching on what the importance of bulking is, even for a general athlete.
Yeah, for sure. I think because I was going through and looking at my clientele and like really diving deep and figuring out what a major struggle is. And major struggle for a lot of our clients, like where I'm at, is they undereat and
Yeah,
they continuously undereat and they continuously struggle with losing fat, losing weight, doing all this stuff. No matter how many times I have told them the only way to build is to be in a caloric surplus, to eat a little bit more, or even know what the fuck you're eating. Because a lot of the times you get these clients that are like, oh, like I eat clean all the time, but then they only have a salad a day, or like, which is not a fucking enough. I'm telling you right now, it's not enough to fucking do anything with it. Or the fact that they'll do double the work and they'll eat like one egg. Like, what the fuck is
yeah,
one boiled egg gonna do? So it's a constant fight that I have with my clientele. Um, I'm trying to educate them a little bit more on it. But right now it's October, and I mean, for any bodybuilder in the world or any power lifter, depending on their thing, it is thick season. 2 C's, no K. We getting thick as fuck. We're eating good food and we're getting big. That's exactly what we're doing. And it is a misconception, especially like for a lot of people, like bulk means fat. But depending on how you do it, like if you dirty bulk, bro, there was a time when I was in college and I dirty bulk like a motherfucker. Oh my god, like I had like a meatball sandwich at Willie P every day. like a 12 like a 12-inch meatball like parm, bro, every fucking day. Now I got like to 180 and I dropped down to like 130, like back and forth. I want to see how big I got, bro. I got fat, but like I wanted to do that, and that was the intention. There is a simple way to bulk without gaining that excess fat, and you just have to be smart about it. You know what I mean? Like you have to be in a caloric surplus while maintaining a high protein diet and making sure that you're getting all the nutritional stuff that you need to do. All you're doing is bulking up like maybe like 50, like 300 to 500 calories a day. Like that's literally like another cup of white rice, like a
Yeah.
little bit, maybe like a half or another thing of like a potato, a little, maybe a couple more ounces of chicken. It's really not that hard. But you also have to know when it's like to be smart about bulking, like you have to make sure that you always switch the intention. And I think that's where people lose it. It's like, I'm gonna bulk for 6 months, and obviously you're gonna gain the body fat because you're gonna eat a whole bunch of shit and be in a caloric surplus for so long. It's the same thing with what happens when people try to lose weight forever. Like they stay at the same calorie mark and they never lose any weight because our body becomes resilient to the fact of where we're at. So if you are wanting to clean bulk, which a lot of people want to, a good idea for them would be 6 weeks in the bulk, 4 weeks in the maintain. 6 weeks in the bulk, 4 weeks in the maintain. This will keep you gaining weight, maybe a pound a week, depending. And again, like it's not, you're not gaining fat, but then also going back to equilibrium and maintaining that weight. You know what I mean? So then it's easier to do it. And this is the same thing that you should do when you're cutting. 6 or 8 weeks in a cut, maintain. 6 to 8 weeks in the cut, maintain. 6 to 8 weeks in the cut. The problem is that a lot of people cut for 365 days a year. They bulk for 165 days a year. They don't know how much they eat for 365 days of the year. They think they're eating clean for 365 days a year. They do the same thing all year and expect a different outcome. That is the
Mm.
definition of insanity. So I might have gone in a little bit of a circle just because it's a little bit frustrating when I'm trying to teach my clients that building muscle is integral for the fact that they need to, if they want to look the way that they want to look, they want to be more toned, or they want to gain a little bit more definition or lose a little bit of the body fat. Muscle does that. Being strong does that. You know what I mean? So if you take priority now, which is right now is October what, 12th or some shit, 11th. If you take precedence of it now, and you want to look good by summertime, the work happens now. Build muscle now till like February. Get in the bulk until about February. Then that gives you like what? February, March, April, May, June. It gives you 5 months to lean down. It's really not that hard. The problem is that people are scared to gain the weight. But the only way to build muscle is to be in a caloric surplus. But if you're not going to do that, then you're not going to succeed. So waking up to the reality and just sucking up a little bit of the weight gain and not worrying about the scale and worrying about how you feel, especially that, like, people will be in a fucking cut 365 days a year and feel like dog shit all day, or you can be in a calorie surplus for 6 weeks, feel fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Amazing, and then be in a maintenance mode for like another 4 weeks and feel great, and then do it again. It's not that hard. It's just building muscle is the answer to everything these people need. But yet a lot of people won't, or are scared to put in the work to do it. And it is a little scary, especially like if you're one of those people that continuously struggle to lose fat. But I'm telling you, it's either you continuously struggle to lose fat or you suck it up for like 6 weeks and you see how you feel. Suck it up for a little bit. I mean, it's the harsh reality to it, and it's kind of like a backhanded thing to say, but it's just part of the game. It's either you complain and do nothing about it, or you shut up, you do the work, and suck it up for a little bit, and you will have amazing results. So
Yeah, there's a lot to get to in a lot of the stuff that you said. I guess and I love that you brought this up because I guess this is something low key I've been thinking about with my clients, is just, especially like, I feel like we go through this phase, right, where we're teaching so much, and we're so stuck on like foundationally getting somebody somewhere, that whereas it's almost like you want to push them to that next level, but you don't like they still don't really understand at the level that they're at now. So it's just like sometimes you some people I experiment more where it's just like, all right, I'm just gonna throw this at them and jump this at them to see if they respond, right?
Mhm.
So I guess where I'm looking at with which I'm trying to find my words in some of this that we're speaking of is it feels like with some of the clients that we're speaking of, right, going into oh you need to bulk or you need to yeah like we need to bulk is it really bulking for them or is it really just starting them with like you just need to eat consistently and more before we even really start having conversations of bulk but it I guess in a sense it's like for them bulking ish but it's like well if you're eating one meal a day it's like I'm just trying to get you to three meals before we even like look at what bulking looks like for you it's like we can't what is bulking for someone who doesn't have a consistent eating schedule to begin with, or a consistent plan on what they what they want to do with their food.
Mhm.
You know, and I guess that's where I guess some of the struggle starts to come with trying to identify or just trying to get people to foundationally understand nutrition and just kind of create this system of eating because it's like we know with some people it's like all right you're telling me you want to build muscle and you're telling me you want this physique but I know that you need to increase more protein before I even get you to that it's like I really just need you to just like hone down and just create a consistent structure so we can start to really build upon this because if we don't even get to this point now and you're just quote unquote eating to cut is like you're not even eating to cut at this point you're literally just like not even nourishing yourself enough.
Yeah. Yeah. You're basically, yeah, you're not doing anything. You're not watering the plant that you need it to grow. And it is tough because like I think it's one of those things where like bulking is such a big word.
Yeah.
People see it as like, oh shit. I mean, but like it really is like just building the small but foundational things that they need to do. And I think the first step to anything is making sure that they know what they're eating. Because I was talking to one of my clients today, and he was like, I was like, what did you have today? I was just randomly, or he was talking about food. He was like, I had a salad, and that's all I eat today. And
Yeah.
like what are we doing again? Like, oh, I want to get big. I was like, yeah, you're not doing that with just eating a salad. So it's the thing of like a lot of people think they know that they're eating enough.
Yeah.
Well, like 100% of them are, I 100% am sure that they do not know how many calories they eat. So I think that's the first step to anything, even before we even get into like the bulking stuff. And I think we should have started there and started moving over anyway. It's just the fact that a lot of people don't know how much they eat.
Yeah.
But they assume they do. They assume they know what 2,000 calories looks like. And I'm telling you right now, it's not one egg in breakfast, a banana, and a salad. It's not that. You know what I mean? You need to know exactly what you're eating, and it is time consuming to track your calories. I 100% agree with you, but time consuming isn't. I think time consuming is not the right word because it really only takes 5 minutes. Because all you gotta do is click eggs, 5 eggs, hit enter, and then you're done. You know what I mean? Like whatever the fuck you eat, especially like if you're not eating anything, and you can guesstimate.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're guessing, but then you're complaining and then and not doing anything about it is the first problem. Know what you're eating. Know if you need to increase because I feel like a lot of people also don't eat to maintenance at all. So like bulking is not even in their future. Their future right now is to actually eat enough. So like
Yeah.
their first struck their people a lot of people's first thing is to eat at maintenance. And then we can talk about bulk. Once you understand what maintenance is and what it feels like and what equilibrium feels like and what fucking being nourished feels like, then you're gonna want more.
Well,
I
here's
think
my question to you. What advice do you have to the person who just doesn't want to count macros?
uh
Like
go
how would we
go somewhere else. Yeah.
yeah.
Don't talk to me. No, it's so it's very hard because a lot of people are very skeptical about it. I say I say first steps for people that don't want to do it is you do it for me for only 7 days or do it even less. Like start there. Like start backwards a little bit. So like, hey, like would you track your calories? Just say no. First off, I wouldn't make you do it for a month. I feel like that's too long. but I would like to know what you eat. So like all you got to do is just maybe 7 days. 7 days is too long. Cool. Let's go down to one weekday and one weekend, and let's see what that looks like. And if they still don't want to do it, all right, cool. So why don't we do this? Why don't we make every plate look like this then? So like then you start changing their habits from the get, because they're not gonna, if they're not going to do the work to see the stuff, then let's start structuring them in a way that's easier for them to conceptualize. So a lot of people are more visual. So like I use like my precision nutrition pamphlet, which shows you what a plate looks like. This amount of fat, this amount of protein, this whatever, and how to measure with your hands about certain things. I think this is like carbs, proteins, and then like fats. It's this, something like
Yeah.
that. So something for them to easily conceptualize. Let's start doing that, or let's start adding veggies into every single protein, or whatever, or
Wait,
every.
before you keep going, just for the people that might be streaming it, I know you were making like a fist, a thumbs
Okay, yeah,
up, and
thank
like
you. Yeah,
the
yeah.
yeah,
So it's
just say it in a way that people streaming can understand what that was.
thank you. So what it is that a lot of times like it's easier to measure by hand. So a open hand would be the amount of carbohydrates you need to eat throughout the day. A
Okay,
palm or a balled up fist would be the amount of protein that you need to eat, depending on like, I mean, if you want to do more or less, you can do more or less. And then I think the thumb up is the amount of fat, so like oils or whatever like that.
got it.
Veggies like is you can put as much as you want. That does not matter. But hand out carbs, okay, fist balled up protein, thumbs fat in every single plate. And then that can kind of start guiding them in the better direction than what they're probably doing, because they're probably only not even eating carbs for a lot of the times. And this might be, I mean, it's actually scary to think if, and I said this today to the guy, if you're a man and you're not eating anywhere near 2,000 calories, you're not eating enough. Not even close enough. Like if you're a man and you're not eating 2,000 calories a day, or don't know that you're eating and you're close to 1,000, and even for women like that can be a little bit less, obviously. Like that's just the standard or whatever like that. But if you're a man over 150 pounds and you're not eating 2,000 calories, you're not eating enough, depending on your cut or whatever like that. But I usually give them a general standard, because like a lot of people think one egg, like the fucking yellow egg thing, like egg what, like yellow eggs are bad for you, or eating a whole egg is bad for you.
Copy.
That kills me every time. Every time. What? How else are you gonna get all essential amino acids? Because there's not another fucking food in the world that does it. I don't know. So yeah, that would be my thing. Is start backwards. We're not tracking forever. We're tracking for a week. Week's too long. Cool. Track for 2 days. You don't want to do 2 days, like a weekday and the weekend? Cool. We'll start structuring it in a way that's easy for you to understand and that you can change today. That would be my idea for tracking. Um,
One thing that I typically find a lot with when you start getting people to like track their food is the first thing that they always say is like, I didn't realize how much protein I'm not eating.
yes.
You
That's
know,
also,
so even when I hear you say like a lot of my people are eating a lot of food or a lot of meals, I feel like you're probably talking just like overall meals because a lot of people do carb snacking.
yeah.
A lot of people are carb snacking, and one of my favorite thing to do is get people's like food logs.
Yeah.
I usually do like a 3 day food log, 2 weekdays, one weekend, because weekends like your schedule is a little different than your typical day to day, so that does change in some lifestyle habits that you have. So if you're someone who is not really mindful of what you're eating and really tracking or have some type of system, chances are your shit's all over the place. Like your even like your windows of how you eat is probably a little all over the place. So what I typically see with a lot of people like that is maybe one meal a day and then a bunch of like random shit throughout the day.
That too.
Random little snacks, like things that don't really leave you full. And it's funny because it's like a lot of people will sit and look like, yeah, I'm always hungry, or the opposite sometimes, like, oh, I'm never hungry, but it's like you're hungrier than you think you are because I'm
Yeah.
looking at your food log and you're actually snacking all day long.
Yeah.
So
That's
even someone's perspective of like what eating looks like to them, there's so
yeah.
much. nutrition gets really, really in depth, man, because it's like it's a lot of perspective, it's a lot of misunderstanding, it's a lot of like poor planning, and as coaches, like nutrition is the hardest thing for us to manage because it's the one thing that we never get to see.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
like when someone sends in a video, like you can send in a video of someone squatting, you can send in a video of someone doing a push up, or like this, it's visual feedback that we can give, but no one's gonna be texting every single meal that they ingest every second and sending it to you. Like that's just it's just aggressive. So I'm always trying to constantly find new ways to like create accountability and create like systems to get people to manage their nutrition, because I'm also not a dietitian. And I
yeah.
have no desire to be a dietitian, if I'm being honest with you. But I do like to give people nutritional guidance and at least kind of help them with structuring and getting them to understand what the basics of nutrition is, because that I am good at that I
Yeah.
do understand as well. So the hard part just kind of comes in finding out where that is to create that foundation for someone, because a lot of people, right, like we're speaking of, a lot of people that want to lose weight, like you need to build a muscular foundation, you need to build a lot of lean muscle mass. So if you're not taking in enough protein, you're not getting enough calories in your body to really kind of build like this burning machine for yourself, you're working backwards.
Yeah.
And if you're not, it's so simple, man. It's like you get in some protein, you up your portions, and you do some strength training, and like let that start being your foundation. Strength train 2 to 3 times a week. The structure is simple, but the work to maintain it is where it gets difficult for some people.
Yeah. I
You
think
know?
yeah, it's very interesting because like the thing is nutrition is a lot more psychological than people give it credit for.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
really is, dude.
a lot more psychological. Like a lot of people like binge eat because they eat all week and then they punish themselves during
Mm,
the week because they ate like shit all weekend, and then their calories are low and then they kind of keep cycling through. Or the people that have body dysmorphia don't want to ingest anything that makes them a little bit bloated because then they're like, oh, fat now. So it's a lot more psychological than a lot of people give it credit for, and so is fitness, and so is everything in general.
for
But
sure.
it is very simple. It's a complex method, but if you just build the structure, it helps. And the foundation is making sure that you're eating like at least 0.7 to 1 gram per body weight of protein a day. And it's difficult, especially if you weigh about 200 pounds. It is very difficult. But if you stay within that range, um, I mean, your your results will be immense. If
Yeah,
and plus, like you'll probably eat less anyway because you'll stay fuller longer. Having carbohydrates will fucking fuel you. They are not an enemy in any sense of the world. If you want to do the energy, if you think about performing instead of thinking about um anything else, if you think about performing, you're gonna need to perform by having your carbohydrates.
sure.
Having fat helps with your hormones. Boom. If you don't, your hormones are out of fucking whack, your metabolism is gonna be fucked, and you're not gonna be able to actually do the things that you want to do. So those are the most important things, and I think it's also the thing of like a lot of people don't know what a carb, protein, and fat is.
Which
So
is
like,
very important.
which is very important. So educating yourself on doing that. So even though we're talking about bulking, it becomes more of a nutrition thing because a lot of people don't even know what they're eating.
Yeah.
So for my advice for anybody is find out because you're probably wrong. I will bet you, I will bet you $1 million that I don't fucking have.
Yeah,
You
if
are
you're not
wrong
tracking it, you don't have a system, your idea of what you're eating is already off. We've been doing this long enough to know that that is 100% true every single time.
every fucking
Every
time.
single time. It's not
It's
even a 99.9%. It's 100% every single time.
100%. It's interesting too because I always tell my clients it's always a good idea every 2 months to like just do it again because like sometimes what happens is like you lose track of like your goals or whatever like that, and it's good to just be like, oh shit, I am overeating. Oh shit, like I am undereating. All right, I need to
You
go
get an
ahead.
autopilot.
Just go autopilot. You just go autopilot, and like I do it too, and I'm a little surprised, but like I am actually undereating. This is why I'm so tired. You know what I mean? It wasn't because of my training; it's because I'm not eating enough. So even we do it. You know what I mean? It's not like we don't. So yeah, I think even before we start talking about bulking, which it is thick season, like I would enjoy people thinking about building muscle, and we can get into the benefits of building muscle here in a second, is think about your maintenance. Are you eating to maintenance at all? And if you're not, like you are not in the right spot. You are not in the right spot. And if you have been eating like that for 365 days a year, times two, times three, times four times, like 5 years back, 10 years back, whatever, and you have not been successful in whatever vision that you want to do, that is the problem. That's the underlying cause. I mean, you cannot build a house on a sand. What's the fucking saying? I don't know what the saying is. You can't build a
That
house on
doesn't
like
make a lot of sense
quicksand
to
or
me.
some
I
shit.
don't
I
know.
don't know.
Even if
Whatever.
that's not the quote, it makes sense to me.
Exactly. Whatever the fucking code is. But like you need to build a foundation, and the foundation is eating to maintenance minimum. And then we can go from there.
Now, what does maintenance look like for somebody?
Uh I mean, in terms of what? What do you mean?
Because
Like
it's
what?
like, well, if you're eating at maintenance, so somebody listening in might be like, well, I don't know what maintenance is for me. Like, what do I know what maintenance would be?
So maintenance would be your body weight, your activity level, and I forget what other structure it is. I think it's your age and your weight. So like it's very simple. I think it's very simple. All you have to do to figure out what your maintenance calories look like is to go online and say and then do a calorie counter. That's literally it. And it'll ask you the questions or whatever like that. It'll give you age, weight, height, activity level, and then it'll give you your adjusted calories to figure
Yeah,
out what maintenance looks like that. What I usually tell people too is undershoot the amount of activity you do because you do
for
less.
sure.
Trust me, if you work out 5 times a day, 5 or 6 times a week, you probably don't work out hard enough because you're probably not eating enough anyway. You're
Yeah,
lower than that. Always undershoot your activity level. So that will tell you what your maintenance calories looks like. You honestly can just do it on MyFitnessPal and they'll literally just give you the insight. Um, Also for guidance, and again, everybody's a little different. For general guidance, I usually tell people the way that their proteins, fats, and macros should look like, protein, fat, and carbs should look like. I like 35 for protein. I like 30 for not 30. I like 35 to 40 for carbs, 35 to 30, or bad said that backwards, to protein, and same thing, 35 to 30. Somewhere. Give it in a range instead of giving it into like a actual number that you have to hit. Because those numbers matter. You need to have a little bit more carbs because it actually gets you to your calorie mark. You need to have enough protein throughout the day. And no matter what, it should be close to your body weight. And
good.
then,
And just to give reference to people listening in, when he's talking about that, he means the percentage of like your
the
overall
percentages.
diet. So not
Yes.
like actual grams of like
Yeah,
protein or carbs.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's like if you have 100% between your three macros, 30 to 35% of his macros are gonna go to protein sources. 35 to 40%, you said would go to carb sources,
Yeah.
and that would leave you with what, like 15 to 20% for like
Something
fats,
like
give or
that.
take.
Something like that.
You
Give
know,
or
so
take.
when you
I
add
like
all
to
those
estimate.
macros in, that gives you 100% diet.
Yes. So yeah, thank you for elaborating that because I was not going to elaborate that at all. But
Yeah.
yeah, so thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I think that's very important. But yeah, I think it's basic, it's hard, but if you just do that, like you will reach your goals. And if you're constantly complaining, constantly struggling, and you're having trouble with nutrition, then always go find a dietitian. Like I ask for help too. You know what I mean? Like
Ask
you
for help,
can't.
man.
I just ask for help. Just if you are struggling and you don't need. So here's the thing too. I think people think it's forever. You don't need a
Yeah.
dietitian forever. You shouldn't need us forever. You know what I mean? You come to us because you wanna be educated, you want to learn, and you enjoy the environment. I honestly don't want to see you forever. You know what I mean? You should be able to be self-sufficient enough to do the stuff that we said before, to train, to do whatever. My goal is to, when people come to my gym, is that if they go somewhere else, they'll be like, oh shit, you know how to lift.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that? And they'll come back over here every time.
Yep.
So ask for help, ask for a dietitian's help, ask for a sports dietitian's help. And if you don't know anybody, go ask a personal trainer if they know somebody. Somebody knows somebody. Just look online. That's what Google's fucking for. I mean, ask for help. And it's
Yeah,
super.
and guys, when you if you are doing your own due diligence, what I think a lot of people should, to be honest, like go online and don't just go strictly to looking up like Instagram reels and stuff like that. Like look for pages that specify in this area. You know, like even if you're on Instagram, everybody shits on Instagram, but there is a lot of good shit on Instagram. You just got
Just
to
ask.
know how to find it, right? So I think there's certain things to look at, like when someone's posting their content, is are they posting things of like integrity and they look like they're pushing like education opposed to like they look like they're just pushing engagement.
Yeah,
Like there's a difference, and I think we're all savvy enough at this space that we can kind of know when something is meant to be clickbaity or when something is like, oh shit, they're actually pushing like a educational agenda here.
yeah.
You know,
It's
and these pages are getting easier and easier to kind of point out to where it's just like this is flash and this is like information.
yeah. It's not that. It's not like the 1990s where people get an email from a prince in Africa or some shit to send them
Yeah,
money and stuff like that. People know better now.
for
So,
sure.
but yeah, just do your own due diligence. It's nobody's gonna do it for you. Basically, you can complain all you fucking want. Honestly, like to be honest, I think people complain just because they want to be heard instead of actually do the stuff. That's fine, but nobody's gonna fix that shit for you. You're gonna have to do it yourself or ask for help.
Ask for help, and that's perfectly fine. If you can afford a dietitian or you can afford some type of nutritional guidance, go for it. Because when you land that good one, man, they set you up for success with shit that can hold you for the rest of your life. Like that's what's happening with my girlfriend's mom. I had her working with one of the guys that I'm really cool with, who's a nutritionist,
Nice.
and I don't think they worked together for a year, maybe like 10 months. And the way he breaks down nutrition is the same way that I break down for like my fitness work, like strength work, exercise, like all of that. He does it in a very good fundamentally way, and he educates people in the process. So a lot of what you grab from that is like, oh shit, I actually understand food now.
Mm,
Like this makes sense to me. So
yeah,
now, being that she got the teachers that she needed from there, she knows how to take care of herself for the rest of life, which
yeah.
is good. Now, if we ever needed to go back into specifics of anything, like shout out to my boy Dr. Sharon because he's the guy that I'm talking about. It was like, all right, look, I'm looking to have her cut 10 to 15. We need to do X, Y, and Z. Where it needs to get a little more specific now, I'll shoot her right back over there to him because he'll know how to set that up. But
Mm,
right now, it's like at this stage, it's like she wants to be healthy, fit, feel good, look good, just general taking care of herself. So she adapted everything that she needed to learn how to do that moving forward.
yeah, I love that.
And I think it's very important, like prioritize these things, guys. Like serious. Like if these goals are serious enough to you, like you want to put yourself into space that you can absorb the information that you need to. It's even dope. Like Ashley was on here, right? We didn't talk about it too much, but Ashley also works under me. But I
Mm,
think it's dope because she's a coach who gets coached. You
yeah,
know, so hey, take what you can get from me, right? You're paying me for a service and you're utilizing the information for your own benefit to get the results that you need. And you coach other people, you better fucking believe she's gonna pull some of that shit and bring it to
love
her
that.
own community.
Yeah,
Why not? Like
100%.
that's what it's all for. You pay it for it and you bring it around the circle. I brought Coach Steven on here. I worked under Coach Steven. So it's like there's nothing this and we build connections in the process doing this shit like that. So like learn from the professionals who know what they're doing and get the information and seek it and look in different sources too, right? Because maybe someone has a conflicting view that maybe you don't understand with too much, or maybe they're not breaking that down in a way that you understand. But it's important that like it's 2023, man. Everything is a Google search away,
Yeah,
a YouTube search away, an Instagram search away, and do better at filtering out what makes sense. Now, granted, there's a lot of information out there. Don't get me wrong, right? But maybe you can start to process some of these things for yourself and just be like, okay, this is the information that I have. Let me bring it to somebody that you know, really, really understands this thing so they can decipher some of this for me. Maybe that leads into you being coached by them. Maybe that leads to a nice conversation with them to set you straight. However that looks, but start to be that self-sufficient, taking initiative first. And I actually just went through this with an online athlete recently where she was like, Like I've been doing all this for this time on my own. Like I understand this foundation of here, but for where I'm trying to go, I'm just not gonna do that extra further research in some of this stuff. Like I'd rather learn from somebody else who can do it. I respect that.
Yeah.
But I love it because it's like she still is self-sufficient enough that she's processing the things that I'm teaching her, and she also created a foundation for herself just with time, trial and error, research, and working with other people in the process, which led her to me today, which is good. And that's how you get in shape, guys.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's how you get in shape. Like we just have to stop like tiptoeing it. Like it's not as hard as you think it is. It's also not as easy as we think it is. And I say easy in the sense like you do one thing and think you're gonna get fucking results. Like that's not gonna happen. But it's also not as hard as where you think you have to do these extreme things. You have to you have to set a foundation first and have something to build upon. And I think like we're too quick to just hear things like, "Oh, bulking, I'm gonna get fat." No, you're just gonna build muscle and you're gonna put some size on.
Yeah.
Protein. Oh man, I I don't know how much protein to take. It's like slow down. Like that's what we're gonna guide you on. We're gonna get you to that level. And sometimes things are just as simple as like increasing your portions. Like you don't even have to add in. It's not like you have to have a different protein source every single meal of every single day.
Yeah.
Like if maybe chicken is your protein source for 3 out of the 4 meals that you have today, and then your other protein source is eggs. Like it's okay to repeat certain things. The same thing that I brought up with training the other day, where I told someone, I'm like, guys, I'm not gonna have you do back squats this day, and then next week you're gonna come in and do Bulgarians, and then next week you're gonna come in and you're gonna do trap bar deadlift. Like, do all of these exercises work? Sure, but I need something to just create some consistency with.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking of a workout by workout basis. Like, let's say their day one is like their their primary focus is back squatting. If
Mm,
that's their primary source, then I'm going to make sure that I stay within that squat each week so we have something that we can continue to build off of, not changing randomly each week because then it's like, well, how do we measure anything? Because it's just all over the place.
for sure.
Like create some structure, create some consistency, and build upon that. And then we can start having some different conversations and seek out the information.
There's so much information out there, and I think I don't know why it's hard for people, but I think it's the nature of of it is. I mean, people are just scared to do the extra work, and I mean, they're not soft. Let's just say they're not completely soft, but I mean, honestly don't know where I'm going with this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
conversation really
yeah,
nutrition just gets so
yeah.
tricky and it's just
It
like you
gets
have to allow yourself to learn it.
yeah.
And
It's
not and I think like you like at this stage I want to feel like we're all savvier, right? Like we can all see, not all see, but clearly like we can tell today it's just different with agendas. Like agendas get pushed so easily today.
yeah.
So it's just like how many times have we heard that carbs are bad for us? How many times have we had heard certain food groups are bad for us to where it's like all of this shit can't be true. Like,
For
and
true.
the information changes, so the information continues to change, but it only changes in areas that are like pushing agendas and have biases and shit like that.
Yeah.
But when you really talk to professionals, they just give you solid, sound information, and everything's not so black and white.
Mhm.
Like white rice can look like it's bad for you in a certain area. Like, yeah, if you don't track your calories and you just fucking eat cups and cups and cups of rice without really like having a system with it and not knowing how to track it, then yeah, maybe this rice is gonna be too much carbs for you.
Well, look at
But that's
everybody
not to say
in
that
Asia.
white rice is a bad carb.
Yeah, look at everybody in Asia. Like, there's
Oh, I
not
bring that shit
an
up all the
epidemic
time,
of
bro.
yeah, there is not an epidemic of fucking obese people
At
in
all.
at all. So yeah, it's get the information and just try. I think it's also the thing you just got to try it. You just have to try it. Like if it's not working, then you have to try something different. I mean, like we talked about before, it's a definition of insanity. If
Yeah,
you keep doing the same thing and you expect different results, it's not gonna work. Try it. You know what I mean, what can go wrong? What can go wrong with 2, 3 weeks of you trying a bulking phase? Are you eating at maintenance? You gain 1 or 2 pounds.
yeah,
So what? Then lose it. Like it's if
yeah,
it didn't work for you, just go ahead and just go back to what you were doing and don't freak out. But try it, stay consistent with it, build a structure that you need, and be okay with the ups and downs. I think people are scared of the ups and downs. But like just like when we were kids, we were curious. We tried everything.
for
We
sure.
got back down. We fell, we got back up. You wouldn't be alive if you didn't trial and error your life. You know what I mean? You'll be a spoiled fucking brat that always cries to mommy and daddy. And last time I checked, we're all adults here that listen to this podcast, and mommy and daddy ain't there for you all the time, right? So how the fuck do you do anything? So try it. What's the worst that can happen?
I like that you said that too. You was like, if you gain a pound or two, it's like, okay.
Oh,
And like that's and I love that because it's like, yeah, maybe in you trying to create your foundation and your maintenance and taking some of this information, maybe you were overeating and you didn't know you were overeating, right? Because at the end of the day, we can go and do the calorie counting, right? They're still going to give you estimations, but that's
yeah,
a good start. Like the estimation is a good start because you didn't have a start before. So now it
exactly.
kind of gives you a wiggle room. And I know you brought up in a previous podcast that we did to where you're big on calorie ranges opposed to exact numbers.
Mhm.
And I think that's great and that's important. That's how it should be. So it's like maybe your foundation is we'll just use 2,000 calories because that's what's typically used, right? Maybe that's what you're using as your maintenance, and you
Yeah,
consistently stay within this 1,800 to 2,000 calorie range for 4 weeks, and your protein is sitting around 35% of your macro intake between like the carbs and the fats. Maybe your split is 35% carbs, 35% protein. Well, let's say 45% carbs, 35% protein, 45% carbs, and that last what is that 25% or
something like
whatever
that.
that
I'm
number
not bad at
is.
math. We're not math.
Whatever that number is, that's your fats. Let's say you stay within that range for 4 weeks straight. Now you know this is your foundation or maintenance level, whatever you want to call it. For 4 weeks, that should give you a good enough gauge to let you know it's like if I need to add to this or if I need to subtract to this. And this is where the structure starts getting easier too, because now it's like this is my foundation with 3 strength days and 3 aerobic based days of 30 minutes long. That's your foundation. That's your maintenance of everything that's going on here. So if you're randomly doing stuff each week that's getting outside of like what you created for your foundation, it gets hard to create consistency and some sort of rhythm to know what needs to be changed and what doesn't need to be changed because it's already all over the place to begin with.
Mhm.
Slow the fuck down, create a structure.
Yeah.
Structure always needs to exist with anything that you do in the world.
Mhm.
And maybe that your structure that you created for yourself gained you 2 pounds. Okay,
Yeah.
let's let's adjust it. At
Yeah.
least we gathered the information now. We're okay.
Yeah.
You didn't get fat, and it's not the end of the world. It's only a fucking pound. Like shit, maybe you stressed out one day a little bit more than the other, or you didn't drink enough water. Like there's so many little things that can fluctuate between a pound. Like
Mhm.
I can speak for Evan in this too. Is like we care about trends and we care about patterns.
Mhm.
What you start to look like and feel like over a course of time gives us more of a direction of where we're actually headed and where we're actually going.
Yeah.
Opposed to just like these extremes. And it's funny, I have a little whiteboard at my gym to where I just like post, like bullshit and just talk shit to my athletes all the time. And I was gonna put something like that up today, where it's just kind of like if you're always focusing on being the extreme, you're never really gonna get any results because you're never gonna know what your fundamentals is.
Mhm.
You're never gonna know what your foundation is because you're always going straight to an extreme. It's just like you've been fucking up for so long, and now you'll be like, I'm only gonna eat once a day. It's not gonna help you. I'm
Mhm.
gonna do cardio 5 times a week. It's not gonna help you. Like
Mhm.
create something first.
Yeah.
Understand it. Listen to this podcast and understand why bulking is important. You want to have this beautiful physique. Well, beautiful physique comes from having a lot of muscle mass because muscle is shape.
Hmm.
And the more muscle mass that we have, the more that we create this um burning more calories at rest, which is what we're all aiming for at the end of the day. So now you mix that in with being super active and having a shit ton of muscle, burning gets fucking easy. You might just add in a little extra cardio and just cut down your portions a tad. Maybe you cut down 2 ounces of your food intake each meal, and now that drops you down like 200 calories, and you just kind of exist in that in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Boom. The
Ain't that-
problem is people don't have the discipline to just kind of stay committed to a plan. That's the real thing. And to strip that back even further is, to be honest, I just don't think a lot of people are as serious about their goals the way that they think they are.
Mhm.
And if that's what it is, like identify that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's where the conversation really starts to end you at is like, well, how serious are you actually about your goals that you have this idea that you want this body for yourself, but you can't find yourself to do the discipline to get that desired result for you. It's like, is that serious to you, or is it just wishful thinking?
Yeah.
Help us know so we can figure out how serious to take this.
Exactly. 100%. Are you willing to make the sacrifices that you need to make? Are you willing to to not have to go out every single weekend because it's not fun for you to stay in? You know what I mean? Like shit like that, or go out to drink with your boys every weekend. Like who the fuck? Like I mean, we're at a certain age where like if you want something, go get it. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
if you want it really want to look good by next summer, like it starts now. Are you willing to start? Are you really willing to start a project, build a standard, build a structure, and hold it to the standard that you need to do to achieve it? That's the problem too. Is like building the consistency is fine. Like you can be consistent ish, but like, is it a standard to the point that you're willing to to make it a priority to not let other things get in the way of it?
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's just like you cool. Like everybody has shit. That's the problem too. Everybody has shit. You're not the only one that has shit. I mean, you have a wedding every weekend. Cool. But you have a goal, right?
yeah,
So how can you adapt to make sure that you're able to reach that goal and still do the things that you need to do, the shit that you need to do? Cool. Maybe if you have to travel for that wedding, look up gyms. Look up food options that you can have.
mhm,
Maybe be like, all right, well, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get fucked up. And I'm gonna eat a shit ton at this wedding. Maybe eat a little less throughout the day because you know you're gonna eat. Like it's not that hard. Not that hard. You just have to put the effort to do it.
yeah.
And
It's
put
all
the effort
planning at the end of the
it's literally
day,
all
right?
planning and adapting. Planning and
Yeah.
adapting. That's all it
And
is.
let's say you really want to make every Saturday night a moment where you just get to just have fun and enjoy. You just got to really make sure you're on your P's and Q's a little extra hard throughout the whole week, because now it's different when you're planning for that moment each week,
Mhm.
because like it's all according to plan at this point. But a lot of people just it's not according to plan, and it just becomes lifestyle. This lifestyle of just being all over the place. So it's like, well, this is your regular style of just everyday habits.
Mhm.
It's not like a moment that you prepare for, and that's where the issue starts to become.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, and those friends that you see that are able to hang out with you and still look a certain way or able to still bulk, go to the gym or whatever, they have done that. You know what I mean? And those are people like look at the other people, be like, how are you keeping up with me?
yeah,
Or going out and doing all this stuff. Because they did the work. They're doing the work in the week to make sure that they're able to hang out with you and spend time with you and make that a priority or whatever like that. So that's all it is. You know what I mean?
or if you just are around that person where it just seems like, wow, they just always stay lean or yada yada. You're just not them.
Yeah, that's it.
And stop trying to, well, if they can do it, you can do it. Yo, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
There's so
Okay.
many little factors that play into it. Granted, like maybe you don't even know what that person's doing when you're not around anyway. Maybe they actually are busting their ass in the gym and doing X, Y, and Z. Maybe this person, quote unquote, is genetically gifted, which is something that people want to throw around all the time. And it's a very small percentage of people who are that genetically gifted anyway. But even let's say that that's the case, right? You're not them. And stop comparing your body to what somebody else is doing and start figuring out and learning what you respond to. Start learning what you don't respond well to. Like one of the ladies I train now is just like she was like, I'm starting to notice like I'm getting like a feeling of, I guess, like a heartburn or like a bloatedness from like more green vegetables. So it's just like an observation. This just kind of started happening. So it's just kind of like an observation now, and I'm like, that awareness is good. Like we might be listening like, oh well, Brussels sprouts is a great vegetable for you. It is a
Mhm.
great vegetable for you, but
Tastes like ass though.
maybe your body is not responding the best to this one, and that's for something for you to listen to. That's for something you to pay attention to. Just because the general consensus is this thing is good, you still want to see if you stay consistent with something long enough, you'll start to see it's like, yo, that shit really just gives me heartburn.
Yeah.
Like, don't fucking do it. Like,
All right. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fuck?
Don't enjoy heartburn, and also if you eat Brussels sprouts, it's nasty. But
I
anyway,
love Brussels sprouts, man.
I'll get out of here. Brussels
Love
sprouts ain't
Brussels
it, bro.
sprouts.
Brussels.
Oh my
I'm still
god.
weird about my vegetables. I only eat a certain amount of vegetables. I don't. I'll ate one of them, man. Um, but yeah, it's a we went very far on this topic and very all over the place. But at the end of it, just figure out if your goals match, if your lifestyle matches your goals, if you're
Yeah,
actually wanting
that's a
to.
big one. We gonna clip that shit right there.
Yeah, basically, yeah,
Clip
yeah,
that and put that on our trailer.
exactly. If your
Play
lifestyle
that
matches.
shit for 25 seconds straight, just that one line.
Just repeat it, back and forth, 5 seconds. That's it. But if your lifestyle matches your goals, figure out how many calories you are actually ingesting before you assume that you're eating enough, or you're eating enough to bulk, lean, whatever. Know how many you're eating, because you are wrong. Telling you, we are both telling you right now, you were wrong.
Yeah, you're definitely wrong.
Figure that out, and then from there, start building a plan to get you there. You know what I mean? And for us, that is getting you to build as much muscle as you can, because the benefits are enormous and they are exactly what you are looking for. Even for women, they're exactly what you're looking for. You are not going to look like a bodybuilder. That is not what you're looking for. That's not what we're giving you. You do not work out hard enough. I am sorry. But if you want to get the body you want by summertime, the work happens now. The work happens now in fall, winter time. This is when you start building the muscle and creating the muscle that you need to look like the way you want by next summer.
Yeah.
That's it.
And to even simplify, like, let's say you really, really don't want to count calories. I do think it's helpful for a period of time in life, but you need to find whatever that structure is that you can measure. So let's say you're just judging it by you're having 3 meals a day and you're following what Evan said, where I'm doing a fistful of protein, I'm doing a handful of carbs, and I'm doing a thumbful of fats. And let's say you just use that metric and spread that out for 3 meals with 100 ounces of water daily. At least use that as your foundation of something that you know you can measure. Now, let's say, hey man, I need to increase my protein. Maybe I do a fist and a half, or maybe I do 2 fists. Something just as simple as that is like, oh, this is my structure that I've been following. I'm keeping that pretty consistent. Like there are ways to kind of create measuring without necessarily always looking at calories, but you just have to find out what that consistent structure looks like to you and just adhere to it and maintain that shit.
A lot of times it's feeling too. It's called mindful eating. Just
Yeah,
full, you're full. But if you're bulking, maybe you like eat a little bit more.
yeah,
But if you're cutting, maybe you have to be okay with being hungry for a little bit because you are in a deficit. But understand that, hey, maybe like if I'm feeling this way, maybe I need a little bit more protein. Drink a protein shake. I didn't eat enough today. Maybe have a banana. You know what I mean? Here's also the trick of understanding the difference between a craving and actual hunger. Hungry or if you're hungry, but you don't have if you don't want to have that apple, you're craving. You know what I mean? If you're hungry, you will eat anything that is in front of you, even if it's something that you don't enjoy,
hmm.
necessarily enjoy. That's the difference between the craving and hunger. So keep an apple in the house. Think about that. Next time you go in and you want to have like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, nothing's really ever bad for you. I'm not a big bad person, but if you want to have a whole bag full of fucking Oreos, or like you have a whole bag full of Oreos in the apple, but you're like, you know what, I want that fucking Oreo instead, then you're craving the Oreo. You're not hungry. But I would have the whole bag of Oreos. I'm just letting you know, like that you can't put a bag full of Oreos in my house and like not have me eat that shit. But it's just a fucking example.
Yeah, no, that 100% makes sense.
Yeah.
We're gonna revisit this conversation again soon. I can feel it.
To get that, we should get that the nutritionist on here. I think that would be a really good topic
That'll be
because
good. That'll be
I
a good
think yeah,
topic. We should follow it up.
I think it will coming from a nutritionist will help. Yeah, be like again, we're strength coaches. Like we're not gonna tell you exactly what to eat and stuff like that. We're guiding you in the right direction. That's all we can do. That's our practice, our scope of practice. Like only
Yeah.
guidance. You know what I mean? So actually having somebody that can educate it in a way or teach it in a way that's so simplified for people that's the kind of teacher you want. You want a teacher that can explain something to you like you're a fucking 5-year-old and you got it.
Yep. Yeah, that's my man
Forever.
too. I can definitely get him on here. That'll be a fun conversation to have.
Yeah. Yeah. It went from bulking to your structure sucks to your lifestyle sucks to fix your shit to building muscle is important.
For sure.
But I mean, it's a good
Well,
conversation.
yeah. How do you bulk if you don't have a foundation of
Exactly.
nutrition in the first place?
Exactly. Yeah. You really can't have anything.
You won't,
So
you can't even tell the difference from a bulk and maintenance because you're not even eating enough.
exactly.
And eating enough quality dads because a lot of people eat more than they think they do. But like I said earlier in here, it's like it's a lot of carb snacking,
Yes.
but it's not like fulfilling stuff that's like nutrient dense meals. So that's what we mean by not eating enough because people ingest mad shit throughout the day.
Oh yeah,
But
for sure.
it's literally just like a bunch of nothing. Like
Yeah.
you might start your day off with a frappuccino, 800-calorie frappuccino, and that's
Uh,
honestly being modest. They're damn near like 1,200 calories.
Bro, those
And then
frappuccinos
it's
are no
all
good.
sugar, no protein, fats, and just like a bunch of additives and shit like that. You're going to be hungry. So
And
your caloric
dehydrated.
intake is high, but it's just like it's just there's no nutrients in it. So it's not really even it's not nourishing you.
Yeah.
And you'll crave shit like that because it's designed for you to crave it.
Mhm.
So that's really what it is. Like start learning to nourish your body, increase your protein intake, and start eating full meals. Keep a structure of it and get to the fucking results. You want a nice body, you need muscle.
Mhm.
There's no person in the world who doesn't have a nice body without a lot of muscle mass. Don't care what you tell me.
Point blank
Any
period, bro.
any any nice shaped glutes, it's muscle.
Yeah.
Arms, shoulders, waist, all of it, it's muscle. If you're naturally lean and you just have the shape, all hats off to you.
Yeah.
Still muscle.
Mhm.
Muscle is shape. Scientifically proven that way.
Yeah. I mean, that's how our bodies work. You know what I mean? It's not tone. Our bodies already have tone. I mean, you stop using that fucking word. I mean, there's no difference between tone and muscle. Same fucking shit. You know what I mean? Even
That's
for
it.
women, if you want definition, you want tonage, you build muscle. There you go. That's it. Just build fucking muscle.
And on that note, guys, like, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. We
Yeah.
felt like we were being a little aggressive on you because we want you to hear it, man. Like sometimes we need this kind of talk. Everything can't be
real,
so nice.
yeah, reality check, man.
Yeah, reality.
Building deep
Everybody needs to be
content.
held accountable. Sometimes you just need that wake me up. Is like, am I really aligned with the goals that I set out for myself? There's nothing wrong with that. We do this with ourselves all the time. I sat here and shitted on my own self in one of the episodes that dropped recently, just with like the strong and unconditioned, right? Like that was a reality check for me, and just to be like, yo, what you're not doing enough in this area, and we need those moments to just kind of hold ourselves accountable and just say, hey, am I aligned with this like I think I am? And it puts things in perspective for you, right? Maybe certain things aren't as serious to you as you think they are. Maybe certain things are, and then this was just like your shit. I gotta get it together. I've been slacking, or maybe it's just like, yeah, maybe I don't really care about that as much as I thought I did, and that's fine too. But I think the awareness part is the key,
Mhm.
So like we said, man, just eat that protein, get those meals in, build those bodies, and set the foundation so you can really have that look that you want for next spring and next summer. This is the time to start.
Wake up, motherfuckers.
Wake it up.
It's game time. It's always game time.
It's always game
You got
time.
you
It's
you
always
you
up.
don't got yeah you don't got to get ready if you stay ready forever. So
Yes,
now's
sir.
the time to wake up and get everything structured and ask for help. Last part.
Ask for help. Yeah, ask for help. Go to the get the resources. Find the resources. They are out there.
Mhm.
You can reach out to this podcast if you're listening to. Reach out to us, whether we help you or we send you in a direction for the help. Like, go to the resources.
Yes, sir.
And on that note, guys, like, subscribe, catch us on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We appreciate all the listeners that come in every week. Set your notification bells because we will be dropping content every single week. And then on that note, see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.